There's been a massive shift in the economy in 2022, and the investment thesis has changed. People have taken all of their cash out of banks and put it somewhere else that's both safer and gets them a higher return. Where you put your money has to shift because the economy's changed. And at the very end of this video, you'll come across a new investment strategy and the reason why we've shifted towards it. Now let's try and figure out what your investment strategy should be to get from 100 million to a billion. Because the economy's changed, things are priced differently. There's inflationary pressures, real estate's hanging on by a thread, crypto is doomed, stocks have crashed. So before we can get into the investing part, you have to understand what to actually do with the cash itself. While you wait to make your moves, what do you do with your cash? If you've ever heard Warren Buffett, or you've heard people in the news say he has X billion dollars in cash or cash equivalents, he doesn't actually have it sitting in cash. He has it sitting in something else that's better, and we'll explain what that is in a second. First, let's go back and explain what putting cash into a bank account actually means and why it's important in today's environment. So when you put cash into a bank, you're actually writing the bank a loan to then loan your money and get something back. People don't know this, but you're actually a creditor of the bank. So if a bank goes out of business, they owe you money. Now what happens is the bank will do one of two things. They'll either loan money to the government by paying bonds. Now, why do they do that? Because the likely risk that the government's going to be able to pay them back is extremely high. Why? Because they can print the damn money and give it back to them, or they'll loan it out to people on mortgages, things like that. They loan the money out again, and that way they make more than they pay you. And so right now, if you look at your account, they'll pay you between 0.1 and 1% annually on your money. Now that sucks. They take your money for 0.1% a year, and then they give it to the government, and the government gives them 4% a year. So they get 40 times what they pay you by giving the US government money. Now here's what's most important about debt. When you loan people money, there are two factors. One is what you're going to get back, which is the interest rate, and the second is how likely you are to get it. The interest rate is, if you have a loan, like for a house, 5% or whatever. Then if you put 100 grand and you get 5,000 back, you get paid for that. You get paid for taking on risk. Now this is what's crazy. Also, if the bank goes under, you lose all your money outside of the FDIC insured amount. The FDIC right now is completely bankrupt anyway. And on top of that, if it exceeds that amount, you get stuck in the bankruptcy company. What if there was a better alternative that was lower risk and had higher returns? Now you may find it boring and ugly, so before the big investment strategy, let's find out where you can put your money. You might be a bit taken aback to find that you can put your money in US Treasuries. Now you have to ask, why would you do that? Because it's not treasuries as an investment vehicle, it's more like a bank account. Now who's more likely to go under? The Bank of America or the United States government? Bank of America more likely. Now who pays more money? Bank of America or the US government? The US government, of course. On top of that, you can take loans against treasuries for up to 80% of the value. So if you get $100,000 in treasuries and you get $4,000 a year in interest, I could take a loan for up to $80,000, keep earning your interest, and then put it somewhere else. You must be wondering, why don't they talk about this? Because they're happy to take your money and go make 5% on it and pay you 0.1. That's the business. Why would they tell people? Now, what we've learned throughout our lives is to put all our excess cash into learning skills, getting access to people, coaching, mentorship, workshops, etc. Number two, when you make some money and you're ready to invest in the S&P 500, because that's what Uncle Warren has told all of us. And people often think that if it worked for him, it'll work for them too. The third phase came post-sale. All right, so we sold 3 companies last year. I talked to a bunch of different friends who were very, very wealthy, and one of them is a very good investor. He outlined a strategy for me that they called a barbell strategy, which is I have stocks over here, real estate over here, very little between, and then I just have my private equities of the companies that I own. So I'd make money here and plowed into these two, right? Now, third can change your life, which is the idea of Graham, to distribute your investments, your portfolio, according to your knowledge. If you put a big circle on the table and put in all of the investment possibilities, and you ask yourself, what percentage of your knowledge is real estate versus stocks and bonds and other stuff, what would you say it is? Whatever it is that you know more of, you have the perfect knowledge of, that's a perfect distribution for you because it reflects your knowledge. If we were going to go put a portfolio together of your knowledge base, it would be 80% real estate, 20% stocks, let's say. Now, Dave Ramsey says that he's talked to many billionaires, probably far more than we know of, and he learned two things from them. They don't do many things, and the things that they pick are things that they understand, and they do a lot of them. They find something that they like and that they understand and that they're good at, and they do it a lot. And for whatever reason, the combination of understanding that in the circle, this is the slice of the pie that they knew, and those people were the richest in the world. So just pick one or two games you know really well and do a ton of those. And this will change your perspective for sure. Even when you're doing business, know your business. Work with the people who know their business, who can do their business with their eyes closed, who are just too good at it. So same goes for your investments. You need to be more mindful of, have the proper knowledge of the business you're putting your investments into. Now, this is a Warren Buffett quote about investments. It's only risky if you don't know what you're doing. So the reason he gives the S&P 500 advice is that you don't know what you're doing. So just put it into 500 companies and you'll be okay. But where you get the outsized returns is playing in a game where you have an unfair advantage, where you know more than everybody else does. So if you have no knowledge of the market and the companies, there's no need to opt for individual stocks or investments, and instead go for portfolio distribution. Now, if you don't know what you're doing, step 1, invest in you. Step 2, invest in indexes. And then when you feel like you're good enough at your main game, then you have this stockpile and you can deploy it. And that starts the compounding machine. This simple investment strategy, after all of this time, has gone completely back to the business strategy, which is singular focus to do the things you know, do more, do it better, and keep doing that for an extended period of time. And it'll be very likely that you win. Every day, all you do is look at how you can do better and how to do more of it. If you know how to get leads, you know how to get them better, you'll make tons of money. You don't need to have any fancy play to be successful. You just have to be willing to get the consistent yardage. So this is the simplest strategy, guys. I hope you got the idea. Hit like if you did, and we'll see you guys soon.